MacVoices at CES. Matias introduces new keyboards and, surprise, a line of mice to go with them. Today's edition of MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide is a fleet visibility solution for Mac, Windows, and Linux that can help you securely scale your business. Learn more at kolide.com/MacVoices. MacVoices is in Las Vegas for CES. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we had to stop by the Matias booth just to see what's going on with Matias. They're known for their keyboards. We've joked, Steve, a lot about some of the clicky keyboards that you all have had, but now you're moving into mice?
It's a shock, but yes, it's true. After 22 years of just doing keyboards, we decided it's time for us to make mice as well.
Why?
You know, it's going to sound like a lame answer, but customers asked for it. We had people buying our keyboards, especially corporations, and they were saying to us, "What's the mouse that goes with this keyboard?" And we said to ourselves, just buy someone else's mouse. We're a keyboard company. But they said, but we want something that matches our keyboard. We want something that's got the Matias quality that we know is going to work together. So we said, okay, we'll make a mouse. But because we're Matias, we didn't want to just make any mouse. So our chief engineer, who's just outside the camera frame here, spent 2 years sweating out the details and made a type of mouse that is special and worthy of the Matias brand.
You just said it. I mean, unfortunately, you have a lot to live up to. So you can't just put out any mouse. So given your reputation, is this an extra clicky mouse, or what kind of features are there?
Well, one way it's special is that it has a special kind of plastic called PBT. Every other mouse company in the world uses a plastic called ABS, which is the normal mouse plastic. It's easy to use, it's inexpensive, but it's got some problems. A white mouse turns yellow over time. The plastic itself will turn sticky and gummy after a couple years of using it. And we said, why does it have to be that way? How come high-end cars and high-end airplanes don't have that problem? Because they use PBT plastic, not ABS plastic. So we said, let's make a mouse out of PBT, and we set our mind to that, and that's what we did.
That's great. That's interesting, because I have an embarrassing number of electronics that have turned yellow. And you think, why? Did I leave them in the sun or what? And it's just that they've aged.
Yes, it's a natural process for the ABS plastic. But with the PBT, and it's understandable why people don't use PBT, because there's these shrinkage issues, and it's very hard to get the mold just right. So you have to do all these mathematical calculations and get the angles just right so that it shrinks in just the right way and it comes out right. But it's worth it, because at the end of the day, you get something that feels great, looks great, and doesn't change over time. So
there are a couple of them right here in front of me. So these are obviously right-handed mice.
Yes.
There's a scroll wheel to them. Are there function keys or extra capabilities there?
Yes. So first of all, the scroll wheel and the top button are made of aluminum, which is very unusual for most manufacturers. They use plastic or lesser materials. And so they've got a nice, firm, controlled feel as you control the mouse. Inside, you've got premium components like Omron switches rated for 50 million clicks. You've got other premium components inside. So you've got like a high-performance mouse. And quite frankly, some of the components here are gaming level. We don't market this as a gaming mouse. It's for high-end professionals and corporate. But it's got the innards to do gaming performance. And in terms of other special features, because we're Matias and we're hardware guys, we don't really like software and drivers. So we built our own firmware, and the firmware allows you to do things with the mouse without having to load drivers or software. So for example, if you plug this to a Mac, go into the macOS system settings, go into the mouse, you can program the top button to whatever you want. You don't have to install some third-party software to muck up your system. And I know a lot of those corporate guys and government guys, they hate it when you install software on their systems.
Well, and just for troubleshooting and compatibility purposes, as Apple changes the operating system and everything else, the features are great, but there is a price to pay.
There is, and I think a lot of people underestimate the value of security and reliability and just plain well-working equipment. And this is what we have with a wired connection with no software drivers installed.
So availability and pricing on the mice.
So the mice are $49 each, and they are available right now on our website, Matias.ca, Matias.ca, and they'll be rolled out to all our resellers very soon.
Great. Now, of course, I love to joke with you about the the clicky part, but this, even as I'm more of a trackpad user, but even as a trackpad user, this is fitting really nicely into my hands. The scroll wheel. I mean, you have to touch some of these things to realize just because you're going to be using them a lot, and this does not feel cheap. This feels good, solid, like this is going to be with me for a while.
Well, you're exactly hitting the nail on the head, because it feels good because of the PBT mice, the dry, satiny feel, and it feels good on the scroll wheel because of the aluminum material. So maybe one of my goals in life should be to try to turn you from the trackpad side of life to the mouse side of life.
Well, good luck. But I mean, I've used mice, I've used trackballs, I've used trackpads. It's almost what happens to be there.
Yes.
So let's talk about keyboards, though, because that's what Matias is known for.
Yes.
What do we have new, or what? Because I know you've changed something, you've improved something.
We have. So this all started with the European Union, and the European Union decided that we have too many connector styles in the world, and they wanted to standardize on USB-C. And it's actually quite well known that there was a bit of a battle between the European Union and Apple about that, because Apple likes Lightning, and for a long time. But the European Union said, you know what? I don't care if you like Lightning. We want to have one standard, and the standard is USB-C. And so what we've done is we've taken some of our keyboards that were USB-A keyboards and turned them into USB-C. So one of these keyboards here is our Matias USB-C keyboard for Mac, and it's got a dedicated USB-C connection right on the end. And so therefore, right off the bat, you just plug it right in to your USB-C port, and all Macs only come with USB-C ports now, and you're good to go. So it's not a radical change, but it's a change in line with the direction of the world. And it started with Europe, but it's going to go everywhere.
Yeah.
The other thing is we've figured out a way to make plastic look so good that it looks just like aluminum. So we got a couple of keyboards here. There are mainstays, been around for several years. A lot of corporations have standardized on them. Matias wired aluminum keyboard for Mac, aluminum frame, beautiful scissor switches with a 2mm key travel. Feel great to type on. But some people don't want to pay quite the same price, and so we made plastic versions. And I don't know about you, but can you tell the difference between this plastic version and this aluminum version?
No, I was going to say. I mean, this is impressive. It really is.
So this is the plastic. Actually, I'll have to double check. That's the aluminum. That's the plastic. That's aluminum. That's plastic. So
are you telling by weight? Is that?
I'm going by weight.
Yeah, that's the only way you would know, because otherwise it looks identical.
And the whole idea is, obviously, most Mac people like aluminum, and that's why we made the aluminum ones, and that's for sure going to be the core ones most people want. But for the people who want a lower cost, and in today's world where there's inflation's high and maybe a bit of a recession, people want to save some money, you can get a plastic version that looks almost as good as the aluminum version for lower the cost, but the same functionality.
So on that basis, what kind of price differential is there between the two?
So $69 for the aluminum ones and $49 for the plastic ones.
That's a significant difference, like you say, in the world today, especially if you're buying in quantity.
Yes, and as I said before, corporations, governments buy these in bulk, and corporations like to save a bit of money, and everybody prefers to pay less taxes than more taxes, and if the government pays less for their keyboards, maybe our taxes are less.
Really, I'm standing here looking at them, and I'll have a shot, folks, for you to see, but if I don't touch them, I would have no idea that they're any different.
And I'll mention also, just because I know you're a fan of clicky, we still make the Matias Tactile Pro keyboard with the super clicky, noisy switches, and that tank will just keep being made for many, many years to come.
I hope so. It's always surprising how many people just love that. I mean, in spite of the noise, and we've gone to a much quieter keyboard, but there's something about those that they just love. They love the tactile feedback. They love the sound. I don't know if they think they're being productive or something, but whatever. I mean, it's a personal preference, and it's a strong personal preference.
Well, I'll reveal a little secret to you. I actually use the Matias Quiet Pro, which is basically the same kind of switch as the Tactile Pro, just a quieter version, and I love it because it just makes me feel so productive as I type on it. Nice long 3.5 mm key travel, non-linear force curve, just feels so gorgeous to type on.
Yeah.
And so I hope that we'll keep making those for a long time for those people who like the classic feel.
Yeah, well, and I always feel strange that the people that say, well, it's just a keyboard. Well, do you know how much time you're spending on your keyboard? And that can lead to repetitive stress injuries. It can lead to all kind of things if you don't have a good quality keyboard that matches you. So whether you're clicky or not, you need to be looking at the Matias keyboards. No question. Steve, one more time, the website is?
Matias.ca, Matias.ca.
Great. It's great to see you. I'm so glad you made it to CES.
Thank you so much. It's great to talk to you as well.
Folks, we'll have more from CES in Las Vegas. This is MacVoices. I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.